Yo, 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 what's up, people? This your boy Pete Ross back in the building. You got the homie Lenny B and CMS in the building. What's up, y'all?
What's up? What's
What's
up?
up?
And we are
What's
about
good?
to discuss the death of Joe Jackson, the matriarch of the Jackson family. I'll let you guys start on how y'all feel, how his legacy is, and that's it.
Okay. Well, I'll start CMS. I'll start. Because you got the background and you're a little bit more Jackson than I am. So, but
Honorary, honorary.
honorary
It's all
Jackson
good.
here in the purple world. But it's definitely all good. It's definitely all good.
Right, right.
My thoughts on it is just reflecting all day. Ever since I got the news. It's just really yesterday when they were saying he was in grave condition or whatever. I just started just reminiscing on all of the like growing up, seeing the Jackson 5, seeing the pictures in Jet magazine of the whole family, but mainly Joe with his sons, with all his boys. You know what I mean? And I remember, especially with the afros, all of the fathers in the neighborhood I grew up in was afro down. That was the era. But especially a father that had like 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 sons. Whenever they would get mad or like, who you think you are, the Jacksons? That was the phrase back in the day. Whether you was acting up or you was doing well, in sports or whatever. People would say, man, that man right there got some Jacksons for boys, that type of thing. So the Jackson name has always meant excellence, or really something positive, and I just want to give, a shout out to Joe Jackson, Mr. Joseph Jackson, for raising the greatest musical family in the history of music. He gets a bad rap to me, and has gotten a bad rap over the years when people try to make him a punchline or jokes about him. But I truly believe that if Michael was closer to his father or was in more contact with his father over the last decade or so, I believe he would still be alive, because his father, at the end of the day, always looked out for his kids. Maybe he was what you would call a little too overprotective, even when they were older, to where they were grown men, and he would still maybe treat them like boys, but they were his boys, and he wouldn't have let nothing happen to them. That's for sure enough. And I just think, like I said, near the end, he got a bad rap, but in my eyes, man, he's one of the greatest fathers, of all time. If you want to talk about, people making comedy shows, whether it's the Cosbys or My Three Sons, a TV show from back in the '60s, and everybody praising what we call a fictional father. We have real fathers that we can look up to, and Joe Jackson is one of them. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, he's human. He was a man. He wasn't perfect. We all know that. But as far as his drive and the discipline and focus that he set forth for his family, and his just sure willpower, just to will his family out of the situation in Gary, Indiana, to a better situation, man, is inspirational, and is commendable. And you know how they say, well, certain people, deserve a plaque or a star on the Walk of Fame or a statue. He might deserve a statue. You understand? Him and Catherine. But that's just, it didn't hit me real hard. Like I wasn't super sad, really, because he's 89, and I knew he was ill. But I had a proud moment. When they on the radio they played, basically all of his kids, who put a song out, which was like, damn, Reeby, even Latoya, Janet, Michael, Randy had a solo project. You know what I'm saying? The grandkids, great. I mean, I just looked at it as more of it was more of a positive situation, or a positive vibe for me. You know what I mean? From 2300 Jackson Street type of thing, where people like, well, that was kind of overboard, but they had cartoons, man. We coming up, Jackson had a cartoon. They had a reality. They had a
variety.
What they call
show.
It? Not a reality show, but a variety show.
Variety show. Yeah.
I mean, they did it all. So from a man with his background, and for what his father went through, Joe Jackson, man, it's a success story all the way around. So much props, man, and my prayers go out to the Jacksons, the whole family. You know what I mean? And and I'm, like I said, I'm proud that I got to witness that, a black man named Joe Jackson, what he did for his family and what the results were. You wouldn't have the King of Pop. You wouldn't have Janet Jackson, the Princess of Pop. And as a Prince fan, no Michael Jackson in the picture, in the equation, to me, it's a different type of Prince. Because no matter how we feel about Michael was that dude when Prince was coming up through the ranks. Michael is the guy. Michael was the pinnacle to what Prince was looking up to try to get to. Right. So no Michael there, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? How the Purple Rain would have turned out. But we do know Michael was, like I keep saying, Michael was that other dude. Wasn't no other, but Michael and Prince through the whole way, through the whole, what I would call, if we were talking about the Infinity movie with superheroes, the two baddest ones would have been Prince and Michael. That's it. Well, no one in between with the Spider-Mans. It was Michael and Prince dominated the whole 80s in the music. Hey, that's right. The music that we hear today, the videos, the ownership that the youngsters want to take control of. You can see both influences from Prince's camp and Michael's camp. You know what I'm saying? So,
I even say even like the fashion, aspect, as well too. With style. I say that.
That's my rank. You go ahead. CMF.
First off, that was very well said, L Boogie. Gotta give you props on that. For me, I just tried to, try to stay focused on more of the positive things, and with Joe and what he did. We didn't know Joe Jackson personally, and I'm just speaking for those who have mixed feelings about him as a person and as a father. I mean, at the end of the day, he was somebody's father, someone's grandfather, someone's husband. So, and like you said, I mean, he was someone who looked out for his family. He did what he had to do to better himself and his family. And when you look at the whole story, I mean, his family is the American dream. I mean, black family from Gary, Indiana, and to see what, like you said, his vision, what he did to instill his kids as far as, push them, regardless of how, people, their point of view of his methods and things like that. But it could be true, but some things could be a little bit blown out of proportion. But but we're gonna be a little, more respectful, and like you said, if it wasn't for Joe Jackson, there wouldn't have been no Jackson 5, It wouldn't have been Michael. It wouldn't have been Janet. It wouldn't have been Jermaine. None of this. None of this would have been possible if it wasn't for his drive and his what's the word? His discipline. That's the word I was looking for. And it's sad. It's always sad when you see a loved one, pass away and I mean, for me, if I ever got a chance to meet him, I would have just told him, just thank you, you know what I'm saying? Because, Michael was the first, artist, period, that I just, fell in love with, as far as the musical artist and everything. And just like, even people in my family, like my mom, I remember her telling me she remembers the Jacksons was like that family that black families looked up to, and they were like, superheroes. They had their own cartoon show. They were just big, Black Beatles, and yeah, man. But he did well, man. He Joe did well, and and as well as Catherine too, because she, you got to give her, much credit as well. But I mean, real quick before I wrap it up, but the thing is, with his relationship with Michael, I do believe that they got a chance to patch things up. I hope that they made peace. I heard that they did, and but it would have been interesting if Joe was in the picture more towards the end, because I agree with you. I think Michael would have still been here.
Yeah.
That's all I gotta say. I mean, other than that, I gotta send my love and condolences to the whole Jackson family, and a peaceful journey to Mr. Jackson.
Yep. Rest in heaven, my brother. What's up,
Yes,
P.
sir.
Ross? What you got, P. Ross?
Man, look. As far as what he did with his family was great. It was awesome. It was outstanding. There is like no book on how to raise children. You know what I mean? So, especially coming from the era he come from, I think sometimes people need to understand it was hard, because he was a steel mill worker. You know what I'm saying? Hardcore. You know what I mean? I mean, especially in the time when you got a lot of racism, you dealing with a lot of stuff. You know what I mean? And it was a lot more frustration then versus today. You know what I mean? Like, it's still here today, but back then it was like, whoa, wait a minute.
It was worse.
So, I think personally, ain't nobody perfect. You know what I mean? And the only reason why his downfalls were amplified was because he was in the spotlight, period. Had he been like the normal, everyday working father, you know what I mean, he would be considered like a great father. You know what I mean? And I mean, I get it. You know what I'm saying? Don't nobody do everything 100% perfect.
Right.
And it ain't happening like that. You know what I mean? This stuff my mother and father did where I said as a father, I would never do. You know what I mean? So you live and you learn. But the important thing is that they became successful, for good and for bad. You know what I mean? So if you take Joe Jackson out of the equation, you have Catherine Jackson with 9 kids and no father to discipline those kids.
Right.
Look, listen. No woman should have to raise their kids by themselves. Period. At all. That's why you have fathers, you know what I'm saying, to discipline, to teach real life lessons. And that's kind of what I really think Joe Jackson did.
Right.
You know, and they made it. And he looked out for them for however long he could until they got grown, until they said, we're going to do our own thing.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, and like, all this, and let me say this too. If there's any negative comments on this video, I'm deleting them instantly, because we're trying to set an example of positivity. Everything ain't got to be negative all the damn time. So all you suckers, stay off this video. Now,
yeah. If you got nothing good to say, I mean, it's like this. If you're not a Joe Jackson fan or a Jackson family fan or whatever, just move on. You ain't even got to comment on the video.
Right.
You ain't even got to look at the video. You know what I'm saying? So I'm with you on that, P. Ross. You know what I'm saying? And I'm glad you said that too. You know what I'm saying?
Same here.
Because I'm moderating anything, and we talking about something that is definitely a moment of, like I said, this is a time really of silence and reflection for, like we say, you don't know who is kin to the Jacksons, and it could be kin in the Purple Underground. You never know. You know what I'm saying? So, hey, let the man, like they say, rest in peace. Let him, you know, coming on and talking about the dead, they can't defend themselves, you know, to me is a punk move anyway.
Right.
You know, especially if somebody ain't saying nothing about you and your family. So,
right.
You know,
but just, you know what?
Like I said, man, keep it moving.
I'll also say this for those with those thoughts. Take a look at your own life and ask yourself, is everything in your life been perfect? You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
How many of y'all dudes out there don't take care of y'all kids? You know what I mean? And want to pass judgment on Joe Jackson.
Right.
A whole lot of y'all. How many women? There's a whole lot of women out there too now. Yeah. Don't get it messed up. Don't get it messed up. It ain't all about mother love. You understand what I'm saying? You know, fathers love too. We love hard. You know what I'm saying? So just think about your own life. Think about your neighbor's life, your cousin, your aunt, your uncle. Ain't nobody perfect, man. Joe Jackson, I feel, did what he had to do, which is what he only knew. You see what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure it was things Joe Jackson probably said, yo, I could have went back and did stuff shit better. You know what I mean? But we only know what we're taught, and that's what we can teach until somebody else come along and teach us.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, you know, shout out to Joe Jackson. Rest in peace.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, let me add something else. As far as Joe, just want to give props to him for, you know, another good thing with raising his kids is that you've never seen none of his kids go to jail, you know, go to prison. If you watch any of their interviews, they always talk polite. They're very well mannered. You know, it just seems like a lot of people who meet them are very impressed with, you know, how they conduct themselves. So I just wanted to, you know, point that out too.
Right. I agree, brother. Rest in heaven, Mr. Joe Jackson.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. And you know, y'all got anything else?
You know,
The dynasty continue to live on.
Can't hear you, Micah.
I said the dynasty will continue to live on.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So, well, all right, people. This is the Purple Underground.
Yeah.
Rest in peace, Joe Jackson.
Right, Lenny B, aka L Boogie, signing out.
Yep. And this is Micah, aka CMS.
And my name is P. Ross, and we out.
Yeah.
Peace.
Peace.